This is Zona Romantica by Susan Calder. Ashley puts her Mexican tourist card and passport into the condominium's safe. She won't need them for a month, unless Nicole sends an all clear. On the dresser, Ashley counts out pesos for groceries and a taxi from Mega, the closest Canadian-style supermarket. She stashes the remaining bills in a safe and locks it with a combination she'll never forget: Luke's birthday and month. She changes from her travel clothes into a t-shirt and shorts. Nicole says even in November, the nights are warm in Puerto Vallarta. Ashley secures the pesos in her zippered pocket. On her way from the bedroom, she dips into the great room and revels in the two leather sofas, bookcase with travel literature on this coastal region, wall-mounted TV, glass table, and chairs, all for herself. 32 years old and living alone for the first time, with more space than she needs, she pirouettes to the sliding doors. On the balcony, she admires the views of the bay and the hills rising from the Zona Romantica. This neighborhood of Mexican-style buildings and new development. An hour from now, in Peterborough, Luke will get home from work and read her note. She doubts he'll report her missing, but neither he nor the police would think to search for her in Mexico. Her one fear is Nicole's husband showing up. "He'll kill me if I try to leave him," Nicole said. Chills rise up Ashley's arms. She returns to the great room, closes the door behind her, and double-checks the lock. If Robert, the husband, does appear, Ashley has her story prepared. Ashley became aware of Nicole in the changing rooms at American Eagle Outfitters, when both emerged with their arms draped in clothes. Ashley hung her pile on the discard rack. Nicole took hers to the cache. 2 days later, Ashley saw the same woman in sports check, trying on jackets. The next week, Nicole was behind her in line at Tim Hortons. Ashley collected her tray and claimed a table. As she stirred milk into her coffee, a voice said, "Mind if I sit here? All the tables are taken. Usually, it's not this busy." Ashley looked up at the woman from Sport Check and American Eagle. "Sure," she said. "Friday afternoons are always packed." "You come here often?" "I work in the superstore pharmacy." The woman's face brightened. "That's why you look familiar. By the way, I'm Nicole." She set down her shopping bags and went to get her order. Nicole's frizzy blonde hair and high-pitched voice would be memorable, but Ashley couldn't recall seeing this woman at the store's prescription counter. Nicole's scarf resembled one Ashley had fondled yesterday in the Gap. She looked at Nicole's shopping bags. Northern Reflections, Strokes, The Body Shop. Nicole returned with her coffee and bowl of soup. "Looks like you've had a productive day," Ashley said. Nicole glanced at the bags. "I'll return most of it later," she laughed. "Actually, all of it. My husband has a fit if I bring stuff home." "He makes you return them?" "I hide it before returning." Ashley stared at Nicole, whose center hair part highlighted her heart-shaped face. She looked around Ashley's age. "Owning the things for a short while gives me a lift." Nicole's laugh was like a bell chime. "You think I'm crazy." "No, I don't. Anyone would, including my therapist. Understanding the problem doesn't solve it." Ashley owned the items for an even shorter time in the changing rooms, and shorter still when she touched the objects on store shelves. When she confided her urges to Luke, he suggested therapy. "Have you called someone yet?" he kept asking her. "That nutty behavior was a phase," she finally said. "It stopped." Nicole finished her soup. She rubbed a napkin over her lips. "This has been fun." Oddly it was, Ashley realized. "We should do it again," Nicole said. "What days do you work next week?" They agreed on Tuesday, which led to Friday lunch, and Tuesday again. Ashley learned that Nicole was age 39, older than her sweet face and voice suggested. She had dropped out of university to marry Robert, a hockey-playing business major with a can-do approach to everything. Robert made it big with his firm that produces equipment for Entimo farming. "That's raising insects for protein," Nicole explained. "I know," Ashley said. "My husband's new hobby is raising crickets at our cottage in Asphodel-Norwood. That's a beautiful area." "Luke loves it." Ashley hadn't gone there since the crickets arrived. Their chirping and her fear they might escape and leap all over her was too creepy. "I hate bugs." Each lunch day at the mall, Nicole showed up in a different outfit and expensive accessories, a scarf, purse, or necklace she'd managed to squirrel away from Robert. She mentioned they had one son who was studying environmental resources at Trent University. He's nothing like his father, Nicole said. My son wants to save crickets, not harvest them for food. Do you have kids? Ashley shook her head. I've never been that interested, and Luke doesn't want them. He says I'm enough. Robert treats me like a child, too. Luke's joking when he says that. Or was he? Ashley chewed her sandwich. He has this idea I'll crumble without him, but I've wondered if that's just him projecting. What do you mean? Nicole's eyes narrowed. Ashley bit off more sandwich to avoid talking about the nights Luke had held her and said he'd die without her. She'd made the mistake of confiding this to her mother, whose face had grown fierce, as Nicole's was now. I don't trust that man, her mother had said. He's too handsome. What does that have to do with anything, Mom? He's used to the world pandering to his every wish, her mother said. You don't want to cross him. Since then, Ashley had sometimes wondered, if she ever left Luke, would he be the type to stab her to death, then turn the knife on himself? Robert is on the other side of the coin. Nicole speared a tomato in her salad. He'll kill me if I try to leave him. Ashley shivered. How do you know? The best I can do is escape now and then on my own to our place in Mexico. Robert hates Mexicans and the heat. She pushed the salad she'd barely touched away. We bought the condo as an investment and rented out most of the year. At their next lunch, Nicole brought up her love of old Hollywood movies. Robert finds them weak on plot. How can he say that about Roman Holiday, Casablanca? Ashley knew it was unprofessional, but she looked up Nicole's prescription history at the pharmacy. Nothing on record, but Superstore sold more than drugs. Nicole might easily have seen Ashley there while buying toothpaste or hair dye. The important thing was that Ashley had stopped prowling mall stores since acquiring a friend. Have you seen the film Strangers on a Train? Nicole said. Two strangers meet on a train, discover they both want someone dead, and agree to kill the other's target. Neither one has a motive, so isn't a suspect. Did they get away with it? I don't remember. It gets complicated. Nicole toyed with her polka dot scarf. It made me think of you and me. I don't want to kill anyone, Ashley tittered, from nerves. Me neither, Nicole said. But if we wanted to escape, there's your cottage and my condo in Puerto Vallarta. Luke wouldn't dream of looking for you there. I've never been farther than the USA. Asphodel-Norwood is the last place Robert would look for me, close as it is to Peterborough. Does Luke use the cottage at this time of year? Not much. He sells off the crickets in the fall. Ashley moistened her dry throat with coffee. What about the police? If Luke reported me missing, can they check flight records? Probably. Nicole's fingers dropped from her scarf. We could trade passports. If you frizz your hair and dye it blonde, you'd pass for me in a picture. That's illegal. If you're caught, Nicole laughed, chiming tones soaring above her salad plate. Robert might search for me in Mexico, much as he hates it, but he wouldn't find me at the condo. He'd find me. You'd be our renter from Airbnb. You only know me by email. This is nuts. Isn't it? Nicole giggled. You'd hate our cottage, Ashley said. It's more of a shack. No Wi-Fi, TV, or phone, or stores for miles. That might cure me. Nicole touched her shopping bag from Sport Check. Luke would think of checking the cottage, Ashley said. It's winterized, but we don't rent on Airbnb. How would you explain yourself? A detail to iron out. He'd know you had some connection to me and badger you until you gave him my location. Lots of details before we make this work, Nicole said. If we want to. After a week in Puerto Vallarta, Ashley has her routine in place. Morning walks through the Zona Romantica, afternoons at the beach or pool, evening strolls on the Malecon boardwalk where she feels safe after dark. Since she's arrived, she's longed to go into a computer cafe and check her messages on a terminal that can be traced to her. On day 7, she decides she's held off long enough. In the cafe, she clicks open the Hotmail account she set up. A blank inbox pops up. No message from Nicole saying she's convinced Luke she was Ashley's colleague using the cottage off-season for a writing retreat. Ashley expects her heart to sink in disappointment. Instead, it flutters on her walk up Basilio Badillo Street, lined with restaurants she'd love to try if she were sure her pesos would stretch the month. In this hot, sunny land, Luke doesn't seem terrible, and not dangerous at all. It's been years since the day her mother warned her he might go postal. When was the last time Luke told Ashley he'd die if she left? And maybe that was simply his insecurity in their early years. An older man who'd stolen her from her boyfriend. Now they were settled into security. Complacency? Could their marriage be revived? Maybe revival was the point of this trip, not the end of Luke and her. She reaches the neighborhood that feels miles away from the touristy Zona Romantica. The food is way cheaper than at Mega. Bananas cost 5 cents Canadian and taste sweeter than the ones at home. She buys a bunch, along with vegetables for a stir-fry and fillets of fish. For variety, she returns along a different street and pauses at a pet shop window. Chickens, rabbits, budgies, mice packed in cages. She stumbles backward, totters on the curb. Are these pets or food? And the mice dinner for other creatures? Surely the budgies aren't for eating. Ashley hurries down the street. Onion aromas waft from a food court. For lunch, she buys 2 tacos. Vegetarian. In the condo's rooftop pool, Ashley floats, dipping the back of her head into the water. Refreshing. She bangs into a person, swivels around, and apologizes to the woman wearing a Blue Jays visor. Ashley has seen her every time she's come up here. Usually the woman and her husband are in lounge chairs reading. From overheard conversations, Ashley gathers they're retired Canadians, like many others in the building. Blue Jay comments on the beautiful weather. Ashley scans the horizon, where the ocean shines turquoise under pure blue sky. My husband's crazy to give this up today, Blue Jay says. He's off on an ATV ride in the jungle. Is she hinting to learn why Ashley is always at the pool alone? Ashley decides to test the story she brainstormed with Nicole, who stole the basics from a friend. My husband's back in Peterborough working. Ashley raises her feet from the pool bottom and treads water. For my birthday, he gave me this month away to research and write my novel. Blue Jay's eyes light up. You're a writer. My story is about a woman who leaves a broken romance and escapes to Puerto Vallarta. Sounds like something I'd read, Blue Jay says. Before you go, give me your name so I can buy your book. Sure thing. Ashley paddles away. That was easy. She wants to email Nicole and say the story works. A man joins Blue Jay in the pool, an American. Ashley guesses as she breaststrokes past. They're discussing the cafe at the hotel next door. The food's amazing, the man says, and surprisingly good value, Blue Jay agrees. Between swimming and reading the mystery novel she picked up from the condo book exchange shelf, Ashley's afternoon passes quickly. With reluctance, she leaves the lounge chair, puts on the cover-up she bought from a beach vendor, and pads downstairs. She enters her unit to a blast of cold. She'd swear she turned off the air conditioner when she went out. Under the arch to the dining area, a man appears. Ashley retreats. Who are you? The man edges closer. She fumbles for the door handle. Why are you here? The man halts. You aren't Nicole. Are you in the wrong unit? How did you get in? Ashley's legs buckle. She leans into the door for support. A suitcase and a laptop bag stand by the entrance. The man is tall, broad, fair-skinned. He wears a mauve business shirt and beige pants. Robert, Nicole's husband. Ashley is acting bewildered and frightened, which he'd see as normal in this situation. Her brain starts to focus. Nicole is the person I dealt with to rent this place. My wife. He rubs his jaw. I assumed. My apologies. He moves towards her. Ashley grasps the door handle. He leans forward to pick up his cases. I have a printout of our email agreement, Ashley says. I can show you. My mistake. He smiles, like a grimace. You are in the right. I apologize for the intrusion. Baggage in hand, he's out the door. Ashley secures the lock behind him. In the great room, she sinks to a dining chair. Her heartbeat returns to normal. Robert showing up was inevitable. Almost. Now he's gone. It's over. Nothing more to dread. Still, she skips her evening Malecon walk. Robert has a key to this place. She'd spend the whole outing worried about coming back and encountering him again. For the first time since arriving, Ashley has a bad night's sleep. Her mind won't stop reeling. Should she email Nicole? No, nothing's happened that's unexpected. Ashley keeps waking from dreams of chickens, rabbits, and mice chasing each other, biting heads and legs, while budgies swirl above them. A lump rumble in her stomach. The fish? Was it rotten? Is this Montezuma's revenge? In the morning, she's too tired to explore Puerto Vallarta beyond the rooftop pool. No diarrhea, thank the Aztec gods, but she should buy some medicine at the pharmacia just in case. There's one on every block, selling drugs that would be more expensive or restricted in Canada. Over lunch, her stomach feels settled enough for an afternoon on the beach. Outside the condo building, her gaze strays to the cafe next door. Should she splurge tomorrow on its amazing cheap food? A man seated at a table looks up from his laptop screen. Robert, she freezes. He waves a salute. She forces her legs towards him. Still here? Too late yesterday to catch a plane home, he says. I figured I might as well stay a few nights. A huge margarita stands beside his open laptop. He wears a floral shirt that somehow looks cool on him. Black hair, even features, muscled arms. He's remarkably good looking. Have you eaten? He asks. I'm about ready to order. She holds up her swimming bag. I'm on my way to the beach. Have fun, he smiles. Buenos tardes. 3 hours later, she returns from the beach and glances at the cafe. There he is, at the same table, laptop open. You haven't moved, she says. I've gone to my room a few times. He motions towards the hotel courtyard that's bursting with tropical foliage. I made this unexpected trip and have work to deal with. This is my office for the day. I'm done now. He closes the laptop lid. A waiter comes over. Señorita, you join us for happy hour? 2-for-1 margaritas. Thanks, but... Robert talks to the waiter in Spanish, his hands moving in large gestures. Si, Roberto, the waiter says. Gracias, Javier. The waiter leaves. You speak Spanish, Ashley says. Un poco. Robert makes the gesture for small with his thumb and index finger. I ordered an appetizer platter. It only comes in one size. Huge. You'll have to help me eat it. Javier returns with a bucket of Coronas on ice. He pops a cap and holds a bottle out to Ashley. She's parched and hot from the beach and walk back. I owe you, Robert says, after barging into your space. What would the harm be of sitting with him on this street patio? She sets her bag by the rattan chair, which molds to her back. The beer is cold and delightful. Facing her is a wall decorated with beaded masks. A leopard face looking over Robert's shoulder echoes his high cheekbones and narrow-set eyes. Nice hat, Robert says. Ashley touches the floppy brim. A beach vendor bargained me down to 75 pesos. It's a godsend in the sun. You look a little like Nicole, my wife, he says. If I sounded strange when you came into the condo, that's why. You don't need to explain. He strokes his beer bottle. She left me for another man. She did? Ashley sips her beer to hide her surprise. Didn't occur to me at first they'd come to Mexico. Nicole doesn't like it. She doesn't? Ashley guzzles her beer. Why did you buy in Puerto Vallarta then? Honestly, he glares. I suspect she'd hope I'd leave her alone for a few weeks a year. Who knows how long this affair's been going on. Ashley drains her bottle's last drops. Nicole's plan, like hers, was to leave a note with no specifics saying she was gone. Has Robert assumed his wife's only possible reason for leaving was someone else? Here's your salsa. Javier brings some bowls of guacamole, pico de gallo, and other sauces. He shuffles the bowls and the beer bucket to the side to make room for the enormous platter. I really should go, Ashley says, despite the savory aromas. What for? Her mouth waters. Does he know she's alone in Puerto Vallarta? It was her shopping that clued me in, Robert says. This summer, she starts bringing home clothes, shoes, jewelry, change of behavior. Ashley realizes she's picked up a taco and it tastes amazing. Now I know, Robert says. She was buying her trousseau. Ashley recalls her meetings with Nicole, those shopping bags of items to return. Evidently, Nicole didn't hide the stuff as well as she thought from Robert. I'm not stupid, Robert says. I did my research. When it finally hit me to check the condo reservation log, I see your name and figure she wrote it in to deter me. Ashley spoons brown sauce onto a quesadilla. She's glad Nicole registered Ashley under her real name rather than exchange passports. Too criminal and risky, they concluded. You mean, Ashley says, you flew here expecting to find your wife in the condo with her lover? Robert's jaw clenches. Ashley forks up a big piece of quesadilla. Fire rips through her mouth. She grabs a Corona from the bucket. Robert's jaw twitches. Spicy tamarind takes some getting used to. Ashley drinks. The heat in her mouth fades slowly. She decides to shift the conversation from Nicole and her alleged lover to Robert, who seems more comfortable in Mexico than Nicole implied. Do you come to Puerto Vallarta a lot? She asked. 3 or 4 times a year, he said. I'd get down more often if it weren't for work. He looks at his laptop case. And if Nicole wanted. Did Nicole misread Robert, or was she lying? Why would Nicole confide, he'll kill me, to Ashley, a stranger, and withhold the relatively mundane detail about her affair? Or was Robert's research skewed by his assumption of another man? Ashley tries changing the subject again. That's interesting art behind you. Robert cranes his head around. He explains that the beaded animal masks are handmade by Mexican peasants. They glue on the beads individually to create intricate patterns, like the lightning sash across the leopard's forehead. While Ashley munches tapas, Robert segues into descriptions of his day trips from Puerto Vallarta. Rather than tours, he prefers to hire boats to take him to beaches and villages inaccessible by roads. It's unusual for a woman to travel alone to Mexico, he says. Ashley starts at the non sequitur. A chicken bit lodges in her throat. She washes it down with beer and finishes her second bottle. She shouldn't go for a third, but her mouth is dry. She clears her throat. For a present, my husband gave me this month to work on a novel I'm writing and research the place. The story is set here. At this hotel? Ashley glances at the courtyard. Why not right here? This might suit my character. The hotel looks quaint. Stupid word. I mean, boutique, Mexican style. Robert dips a piece of quesadilla into the tamarind sauce. Inexpensive, too, with more atmosphere than your sterile condo. I'll show you around the hotel if you want to take notes. That's okay, except after 2 beers and an hour since the beach, her bladder's so full she's not sure she can make it to her condo next door. I could use the washroom. It's off the atrium. He looks at the courtyard. When she emerges from the washroom, Robert is standing by the atrium's central staircase. He points out the tree that twists 4 floors up, its leaves searching for sunlight in the open air space. The trunk and branches press into the staircase railings, breaking them in spots. Rather than cut the tree down, the owners work around the problem. Robert adds that the strings of light around the trunk illuminate the courtyard at night. When the cafe closes after happy hour, they move the tables and chairs in here. The rooms are small, so guests spend the evening in the atrium playing cards or trading travel experiences. You sound happy with the hotel, Ashley says. So don't feel guilty for kicking me out of my condo. She jerks back. Joking, he grins. Stuffed from the food, Ashley doesn't need dinner. She sets out early for her Malecon walk, half expecting to see Robert in his usual chair. Instead, Javier is lifting Robert's table to move it to the courtyard. Hola, señorita, he says. Hola. She really should learn more Spanish words. On the pier, Ashley watches the orange, pink, and red sunset hues build through layers of cloud. She walks the Malecon to its north end in increasing dark. Mexicans in town for the weekend party on the boardwalk and beach. They and other tourists snap photos of themselves climbing on sculptures and pose with the busker painted as an angel statue. Ashley hums along with a folklore group, a string quartet, and two boys playing a melodica and electric piano. She tips them all a few pesos and buys a souvenir from an old woman peddler, a knit doll to decorate her sterile great room. Odd that Robert criticized his condo when he could have chosen to buy a place with character. Unless Nicole didn't want that. How many of Nicole's confidences were untrue? Some of them? All? Ashley leaves the boardwalk for her quiet, dark street. She stops at the pharmacia for a box of diarrhea medicine in case the tapas disagree with her overnight. From behind the hotel reception desk, Javier sees her and brightens. "Señorita," he says, "Robert's asked to meet you in the atrium. He has a surprise." "What?" Javier shrugs. Ashley could snub the request, but she won't sleep for worry it's something about Nicole. She'll be safe with Javier here and all the guests sitting out in this clear night. Robert sits alone at an atrium table staring at his laptop screen. The strings of tree lights illuminate the space, but where are the other hotel guests? He looks up, scrapes back his chair, and stands. It's about Nicole. Ashley's legs waver. "What?" "Look at this." Robert grabs her arm. Ashley pulls away. "It's not my business." He shoves her down into the chair. She grips the armrest to hoist herself up, but his hand weighs on her shoulder. She opens her mouth. His other hand blocks her scream, feeds her bitter liquid. The atrium goes black. Ashley wakes to a dim light. Robert sitting on a bed beside her. She tries to move her arms and legs. Can't. They're tied to a chair, not the rattan one in the atrium. This chair is hard, with a straight back. Where am I? She knows. This is his hotel room in the hotel. Single bed, dresser, cafe table squeezed into the small space. She opens her lips, but no scream comes out. Too groggy. "What did you give me?" "You can buy anything in a pharmacia," he says. "Don't bother yelling. No one can hear back here." Ashley doubts these old walls are soundproof, but she needs to gather energy for thinking. Robert sits straighter on the bed. Where is she? Who? Nicole's with him. You know where. She coughs. Play along to escape. I'm only the renter. The wife. How did she rope you in? He gets up and switches on a ceiling light that blinds her. My guess is he wouldn't leave his marriage, so she stalked you, learned your habits, insinuated herself into your life. What are you talking about? He leans over her, narrow eyes staring. She turns toward the far wall that displays a beadwork mask, not a leopard. You really don't get it, he says. A monkey? Your husband's her lover. But its ears are long. Luke, isn't it? Memories flood Ashley's brain. Nicole appearing in all those stores and the Tim Hortons lineup. It seemed a coincidence, and then plausible and likely due to their shared shopping habit. Where are they hiding out? Ashley smells his beer breath. How would I know? Why cover for that bitch? She betrayed you. Nicole was her friend. No, she wasn't. Your husband, too, Robert says. I'll die if you leave me, Luke said, but that was years ago, not lately. He was cheating. Nicole planned this, used her, they both did. Tell me their address. Ashley eyes the door, her only exit. Robert raises his hand, palm towards her face. She cringes in the chair. He'll kill me if I try to leave him. Was this the one thing Nicole said that was true? You're a fool to protect them. Let her go, Ashley says. She doesn't want you. Robert slaps her face. Pain radiates to her forehead and neck. He presses his hand over her mouth, muffles her shriek. She squirms his hand off of her. His breathing is heavy, deep, labored. The beaded mask taunts from across the room. Long ears. It's the face of a rabbit that will not be meat. Okay, she forces her voice steady. Untie me first. Robert touches her neck. Run, and you're a dead woman. Ashley strides through the atrium that's still empty. She reaches the hotel desk. Buenos noches, Javier smiles. If she reports Robert, he'll deny everything. Who would Javier believe? Roberto, for sure. She makes it to her condo unit, hurls herself in, bolts the door, and paces the great room. It will take Robert a full day to get to Asphodel-Norwood by plane and car. Should she phone the Peterborough police and say he's on his way to the cottage to kill his wife and her lover? Ashley has no proof. They'll think she's nuts. Despite the abduction and her slapped cheek, she's not sure herself. She's mainly going on the word of Nicole, a liar. Ashley rifles through the folder of condo information. She finds the page with instructions for connecting to the internet and logs into her Hotmail account. She types a message to Nicole, keeping the details sparse, and ends with, "Get away. Take Luke with you, if you care about him." Nicole might happen to go to Peterborough today and read the warning. If she doesn't, it's not Ashley's fault. Ashley sleeps remarkably well that night and wakes up late. No response from Nicole, but she wouldn't expect it this soon. Over lunch on her balcony, Ashley basks in the view of the Zona Romantica stretching to the ocean, hills, and sky. She studies her Mexican-Spanish phrase book and debates her afternoon activity, beach or pool. Hola, señorita. Ashley stops in front of Javier. Her beach bag is heavy with the books on the Puerto Vallarta region she'd borrowed from the condo shelf. She sets the bag by Robert's table, now unoccupied. Did Roberto check out? She asked. This morning. Bueno. Time to mangle a little Spanish. After the beach, La Playa Vengo for tapas and happy hour. Javier grins. 2 for 1 margaritas. See. Ashley picks up her beach bag, which feels lighter. And that's the end. Zona Romantica by Susan Calder was written for the Asphodel-Norwood Public Library's Murder Mystery Fundraiser that was supposed to take place on Saturday, April 25th, 2020. Unfortunately, the fundraiser had to be canceled, but we did want to share this great story that was submitted to us with our local residents and beyond. I wanted to let you know a little bit about the author, Susan Calder. Susan Calder grew up in Montreal and moved to Calgary in 1996. Her first novel, Deadly Fall, was published in March 2011 by Touchwood Editions. Deadly Fall launched a murder mystery series set in Calgary and featuring sleuth/insurance adjuster Paula Savard. The sequel, 10 Days in Summer, was released in January 2017 by BWL Inc. In 2019, BWL published her third novel, To Catch a Fox, and a new edition of her first novel, retitled A Deadly Fall. Susan has a degree in urban studies from Concordia University and worked as an insurance claims examiner. She came to writing 29 years ago and honed her craft at Concordia University, the Alexander Writers Center Society, the Banff Center for the Arts, the Sage Hill Writing Experience, and Booming Ground. At Mystery Writers Inc. and the Calgary Citizens Police Academy, she learned about crime, police work, guns, poisons, and assorted ghoulish matters useful to mystery writing. Susan's short stories and poems have won contests and been published in Other Voices, Alberta Views, The Prairie Journal, Silver Boomers Anthology, Best of Puerto Vallarta Writers Group, Volumes 1 and 2, AB Negative, and Passport to Murder. Her award-winning Alberta Views story appears in Writing Menopause Anthology in Nana Publications, released in 2017. Her story, When a Warm Wind Blows Off the Mountains, published in December 2016 by Loft on 8th, was produced as an art book through the Printed Word Project and is on permanent display outside the Great Reading Room in the new downtown Calgary Public Library. Susan serves on the board of When Words Collide Festival for Readers and Writers and is a past president of the Alexander Writers Center Society, where she has taught courses and workshops on writing fiction, mystery dialogue, and revision. She is also a member of the Writers Guild of Alberta and Crime Writers of Canada. When she's not engaged in writing and related activities, Susan is likely to be traveling or hiking. So the library had initially approached Crime Writers of Canada to submit short stories to support our fundraiser initiative. And we're very grateful to Susan for not only submitting a story, but for allowing us to share it virtually. So thank you so much to Susan, to Crime Writers of Canada, and everyone for tuning in and listening to this read aloud murder mystery story. Thanks so much.